All right, guys, so it's day 2 working on the exhaust. I'm starting to put the Y pipe in now, and I'm running into some problems. Like I said, I knew this isn't going to be a direct fit. It's not meant for these headers. It's not even meant for 1 3/4 headers, so there is going to have to be some modification to get this to work. But the biggest problem I'm having is with the pipe on the passenger side. Now, the driver's side is in. Just slipped it in loose. Let me show you how that fits. So here's the driver's side just slipped on, and you can see that's tucked away relatively well. I mean, the driver's side was never the problem, so that's pretty straight up there. And then here's the merge back here. You can see that's sitting straight. That's pretty much like where it was before. But the big problem is with the passenger side, because the way the pipe bends, you can see that is just like hanging down and nowhere near the right angle where it needs to be. But that I can always cut and just weld on and have it come out straight. So that's not really the problem. The problem is that this pipe is too big. Like I said, on my old pipe, the Hawk's welded version, the diameter of these pipes here is smaller, so it gives you more ground clearance. But being these slip over the outside of the header, the pipe is way bigger. And if your car's lowered like mine, you're gonna lose a lot more ground clearance. If you have like a stock car, stock suspension, just with an LS swap, these will probably work for you by modifying that pipe. I mean, we're slipped on the pipe here. This curves, it tucks up relatively well, like back here. It's like right underneath the trans cross member, like in the pocket there. But the two biggest things, like I said, are here, where this is hanging down, but that's not really a problem. I can fix that, cut it, just make it come up straight so it could join into the merge over here. But the problem is the diameter. You can see how big the pipe is. And then on top of that, the way it's sitting, it kind of like the header comes down, then it goes up, and then this part comes down again. So the way that's sitting like that, that is really going to scrape badly. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do to fix this. Either I'm going to try modifying this, which if I can't get it to work, that's going to suck because I'm going to lose like $300, or I can try to disassemble this pipe here, grind off the welds, try to make this work. The only thing with going with this, even if I were to order a brand new one from Hawks, I'm gonna have to weld this in because this thing never seals. Either I'm going to weld it in or put V-bands back on. And once again, if this smaller pipe is scraping that badly, yeah, that 3-inch pipe is just gonna like get absolutely destroyed. But the other thing is, like I said, when I was pulling this out, there was room to tuck this up more. So I think if I redid it with like a new pipe, or cut these off and reworked it, I could get this in tucked more. So I think that's going to be the best way to go, is just to reuse this style of pipe. So right now I think I'm going to go with the grinder. I'm just going to cut this pipe up here, try to loosen everything up, see if I can clean it up, and use this kind of as a template to work it with the headers in the car now, and see how I can get it to fit. All right, guys, another update. So I started cutting the pipe to try to use the welding pipe. That wasn't working. I gave up on that pretty quickly. And then I actually decided to go inside and look at some old footage of my V-band clamp video. And I noticed that this is sitting a lot higher already than my old Y pipe. And the part that's hanging low is actually in the same spot as the old one. So it's not going to scrape any worse than it did before. And in addition to that, this whole piece here is actually way more tucked than before. Before there was a large gap right along the top here, and the pipe was just going kind of like straight across, and there was a lot of unused space up here, which with this new pipe, it's actually tucked away. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this, but I just have to modify the back to get the merge to connect. So the way I'm going to do that, being this pipe here, not only is it just like completely sticking down in the wrong direction, it also has to come over more because these are too far apart. So even if I had this coming straight, it's going to be like coming out over here, and they got to be closer together. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go in here and try to, as neat as possible, cut their weld around here. And then once this is loose, I'm going to twist this pipe counterclockwise, so the elbow is going to be pointing this way, and that should have the pipes close enough together where I can connect the merge. All right, so time for another update. I went ahead and I started cutting the Hawk's pipe. I got the the bend removed, the weld cut, and this is what I have so far. So basically what I did what I said I was going to do. This piece that was welded here, and this pipe is like hanging down like that, I just went around and I ground that weld off. So this was loose and I slipped this out. And now all I did was turn it up so it's going towards the merge pipe here. It's still not perfect. I gotta do a little more modifying, but you can see it is tucked very nicely right up here against the frame, pretty much as high as it's gonna go. Before, the pipe was all the way down here and it kind of curved under. So this already is way better than my old setup, even though I'm running the bigger pipe. Now I just have to modify back here because you can see the angle is just slightly off. So I'm gonna have to come up with something to get these two to match up so I could weld this in place. This is getting welded anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I just have to, you know, fill this gap up, somehow get an elbow on there or something, and then I could tack everything and go from there. But even back here, you can see that's pretty level with the car, and it's definitely no lower than it was before, and I'm pretty sure it's still sitting higher back here as well. And then the rest of my exhaust will come over with that adapter and just line up right there where it was before. The collectors, you can see they're just slipped over. The band clamps will go over them. Hopefully those seal up nicely. But right now, I'm just gonna go and see what I could do about this piece here, see if I could get it to fit properly, and then I'll probably pull the welder out and put a couple of tacks and see if I get this thing in and start the car up. I just remembered that I had my old straight pipe from before I put the SLP muffler on the car, and this is what it is. Pretty much, I had it like this for a while, but it was too loud, so I ended up putting the muffler on. But this just bolts in right where the muffler is there, and then that gave me a straight pipe. But I remembered I'd had this, and it's been sitting around for a while because I'm not using it. And this tip here that you could just get at like any Autozone is pretty much like the perfect angle for what I need. So what I'm going to do is just cut it off at the weld there, and then cut this piece right here like across so it's straight, and then I can slip that into each pipe and weld everything up, and that should be like just about almost a perfect angle to get that thing installed. Alright, so I just finished cutting the end off the pipe. You can see that's how it was. I cut that over there, cut the end off, and now I'm left with this little elbow that should fit that angle quite nicely. Let's go into the car, see how this fits. I might have to trim a little more off to like shorten it down some, but as far as the angle goes, I think this is going to fit really good. It is the exact angle that I needed, so that makes that connection there. You can see this is still nice and tucked up against the frame here, way more than it was before. The merge pipe, I could twist it just so it's a little more level. Right now, when I let go of that, it kind of sags down, but I could twist that so it's gonna be, it'll come up, twist like that a little more, and it'll be perfectly flat. So the driver's side pipe will be up a little bit more. But as far as everything else goes, I mean, it's level back here. Everything's slipped onto the headers. So I think now I'm gonna go and just put some tacks here, here, and here, just so this doesn't move, and then I'll slip it off and see how I can adjust it as far as how far down I want it on here, because I want to make sure that I leave enough room where the clamp has room to seal the end of the pipe. So worst case, I might have to actually just shorten this down a little and cut the end of the pipe here. But as far as everything else, it's looking very good. I'm pretty happy with that. For modifying a pipe for completely different headers, I didn't even have to do much. I mean, like I said, as far as the pipe, I didn't even touch it. I didn't have to cut anything. All I did was take this weld off and twist this. I didn't even shorten this or anything. And then I just went and got this little piece that you can get from Autozone and just cut it for that angle. And then that was it, and everything fits good. So I'm gonna go get the welder out, make sure I have this perfect, put a couple of tacks in it, then we'll pull it down and take a closer look at it. Alright guys, so everything is tacked in place. Now what I ended up doing was I had, well you saw I first tacked it here and here, and then I noticed that that collector over there wasn't down far enough, it was sticking a little too far out, so I ended up cutting, I left this where it was, being this side was perfect. I cut this weld off of here, cut that off of there, and then I pulled a little more pipe out of there to slide that down more, and then on top of that, I kind of tilted. I tilted this merge up towards the back, so these are kind of angled down, just because it was hanging a little low. I have a flex pipe there, so that's going to join up no problem at all. But now, yeah, everything's looking good. I mean, these spots here I marked because I am going to heat them up and just ding them just a little bit so I have some clearance around the cross member, because I wanted to hug them up as tight as I could. So there's very, very little clearance. It might bump, it might rub though going over a bump, so I'm just going to heat that up, ding it in a little bit just so I have enough room. And then I'll be ready to finish up the welds, put it on the car, you know, strap it down up front, and I just got to hook the back up and we'll be done. All right, guys, so here's the completed Y pipe. I just pulled it out of the car. You could clearly see the little piece of tailpipe that I used to match that angle. Driver's side I didn't have to touch. That's completely stock from Hawks. The merge is stock, and all the way up here too. Like I said, the only thing I had to do was just cut the weld here and orientate it. You can see I made this line here where it was from Hawks, and had to cut it, twist it that much, re-weld it, and then it fit pretty much perfectly. Aside from that, I had to add this little piece just to match the angle and extend it a bit. But other than that, yeah, really not too much modification had to be done to it. So I'm just gonna go weld all this up and then we'll go put it in the car. So most of the welding is finished. I put it back in the car. I got all the pieces completely welded around. It's just slipped on. You can see the back fits on no problem. The only thing now I want to work on, I got to make some kind of a hanger, because I never had a hanger for this, and the V-bands kind of held everything on. But now that I'm not going with them anymore, you know, there's going to be a lot of actual play in those clamps, and I don't want to cause them the Y pipe to slip off. You could see also I went ahead and I clearanced, I heated that up and I hammered that in, so that has plenty of clearance up there now. The same with that side. It's tucked away quite nicely. All right, another update. I pulled it back out. I welded the adapter on the back here, because once this is on here, that's on there for good. There's no reason to take that off. Over here, I guess I'm going to use, they give you 3 band clamps, so I guess I'm going to band clamp this. I'm going to band clamp the 2 where the headers connect. And then right now, I didn't do the mount yet, the hanger. What I'm going to do is I got to support the muffler, because before I had this welded, so literally all that was holding up the tailpipe from like sagging down like that and twisting was the weld. That's why I specifically welded it, just because I was lazy. I didn't feel like putting hanger on there. But I have the little adapter for the hanger. I'm going to weld that on now and get the tailpipe back up. Alright, so my hanger's on my muffler. That's nice and secure. I had this rubber up here for a while, because when I had the straight pipe on here, this was my hanger holding it up, but once I put the SLP, I never welded a hanger back on. So that's all done. It's a little cracked. I'm gonna have to replace this rubber eventually, but that's all secure. Really all that's left to do is clamp the headers on, and I have to make a mount, because I want to support the center of that Y pipe there, just because I don't want all that weight hanging on the header, just like I said. But for now, I think I'm just going to go band clamp that connection there, band clamp the headers. We'll start it up, see what it sounds like. Alright, so it's day 3. As you can see, the car sounds great. I checked for leaks. The only leak I found was back here by this clamp, which I had a feeling was going to leak because this pipe is all bumpy from when I had it welded. I didn't plan on using this clamp. I didn't have anything else, so I just threw it on there. But I am going to swap this out for another one of those like really heavy-duty band clamps that aren't like thin like this. But as for the front, the headers are fine. Nothing's leaking back there. All the welds are good. The only thing that's left to do is I want to adjust that tailpipe because it's hanging a little low. It's not perfectly even across. So I'm going to bring that up a tiny bit. And then I want to put a hanger on this. Now, I figured what I'm going to do is, if you see under here, there's, I don't know if you can see it. There's a bracket over here. Not a bracket, there's like a reinforcement plate. Oh, you can actually see the one on that side. There's that plate there where the parking brake's coming down. So I'm going to use that to weld a bracket to, so I can hang that rubber hanger on. And for down here, I'm just going to go ahead and use a 3-inch U-clamp, and then that'll allow me to hook the rubber onto that end. And that'll just, you know, pull this up and give it support so it's not all hanging all in the headers or the back by the muffler hanger over there. All right, so I got the muffler all adjusted. All I did was, the mounting hole was over here for the rubber hanger. I just drilled a hole a little farther back and went up 1 notch, and now it's nice and secure, you know, plenty of clearance, nothing's touching. And it's nice and tucked away and even now. It's not hanging down a little on this side. So that's all done, so let's get to work on the hanger for the Y pipe now. So I got the rubber piece on the mount, on the clamp. I changed my idea though. I'm actually going to go ahead and just weld a bracket on there, just because I remembered that I have the reinforcement plate for the roll cage in there, and I don't want to have to drill through that. And then plus, I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to be able to get the hole. I'm going to probably make it too low or too high. I'm not going to be able to get it perfect. So I flattened out this bracket that comes with the hanger, and I'm just going to weld this up there like that. I'll weld it on both sides, and then I can easily, with the hole at the bottom, loop that through one of the holes in the rubber piece and put a bolt through it, and then that'll be it. All right, so the mount is finished and I am very happy with it. You see, I actually went ahead and cut the rubber in half and put 1/2 on each side, just because it was too thick, just folding it over. And then I put a lock washer on the bottom. The top bolt that came with the hanger was serrated, so I didn't do anything there. I pulled the jack out, and this thing is solid. It doesn't move at all. I can't move it up and down anymore. There's plenty of clearance between the mount and the transmission mount and the pipe where I cleared it with heating it up in the hammer. Same thing for this side. And yeah, this is already way better than it was before, because I never had a hanger here. So all the way to that Y pipe was just kind of hanging on the back there, because I have 2 hangers for the muffler. Alright guys, so the car is down on the ground, and let's take a look at the ground clearance. So I'm definitely happy with the way it came out. So you can use the Hawk's wide pipe to do this. Sure, you have to modify it. Follow the steps that I took in this video, and you can make it work. Just by twisting that one piece at the end and adding in the little angle, you can make it work. And in addition to that, now you know how to add a mount. But I'm going to link all the parts I used down below. The little piece of pipe I had to add, all the mounts, the Y pipe itself, the headers, everything's going to be in the description. So if you want to copy this exact same setup, you can do that. As far as cost, I'm not sure if you went to a muffler shop, how much they would charge you to make a Y pipe, or how much more they could tuck it. But the way it came out now is actually very good. It is extremely tucked for modifying a pipe that wasn't meant to be used with these headers. And the ground clearance is really, really great. It's definitely no worse than it was before. If you don't follow me on Instagram, as always, I'm going to link it down below. I did post videos and photos as I was filming this video, so if you want to get a sneak peek, see how the job's coming along, answer some questions, link to that is down below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.